Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew, man? We're back today, man. We got a Nexpo video. We got the Darkest Lost Media Volume 3. This was a request one. I know we haven't did a Nexpo. We actually have recorded a Nexpo before, but I don't know where it's at to be able to put it out. We recorded that like months ago. But we record so much that if I don't put something out right away, I end up forgetting about it. Or it get lost in the files, bro. I need to go through and like search a bunch. Like, it's probably about 10 videos that we've done that y'all have never seen in the last 6 months. I'll say that. Overall, it's probably about 50 videos that we recorded y'all have never seen before. It's probably about 50, won't you say?
It's probably...
or more, give or take.
It's quite a few.
I never put out, man. We do so much, man. But with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, you got to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoy today's visuals.
Lock it in with a thumbs up.
Bro, there's videos from like when we was downstairs that y'all never seen before that I just said effort. I literally said forget it. You all right? Mm-hmm. Y'all, we've been over here struggling, man.
I can't breathe. But yeah.
Okay. Well, you can't hear it right now. Hey, that inhaler coming. Look clutch sometimes, y'all. But hey, let's get it. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about, man. Let's go. Why sound so dark? You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned after the credits for a special name. I think I know what's a special name. What?
I said it.
I saw something with him and Baller. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
March 21st, 1997. History of the Prophet Joseph Smith. In 5th through 8th grade class. How anxious I am for Heavenly Father's Spirit to touch your minds and hearts. For what the Prophet Joseph Smith did was right.
Hailing from a tiny Utah town called Short Creek was a cult. The Fundamentalist Church of Life.
You know about this. we find out about him. They worship this man. You know what it is? No, you don't. Cause I know the confusion. I see the confusion on your face. Every sign of you, what your thoughts are, I already recognize it nowadays. You know what I'm saying? You confused.
I'm not confused.
No, you confused. Like, remember we were watching that TikTok or whatever short. I don't even know what platform, Reel, whatever we was on. Could have been on Twitter. The people were talking about BYU and all this, and she was saying how she's thankful for that man, the Mormons, Latter-day Saints, Cause you remember I was like, who is this dude? You Googled him and looked him up.
Well, I already knew who he was because I had seen a video previously. And I was like, oh, this is the man that's behind.
But you remember you had Google and did some research stuff. That's how we first found out. How I first found out about him, though.
Latter-day Saints, or FLDS for short. Most recently run under the grasp of a man named Warren Jeffs, they operated completely under the radar for the better part of the past century. For years, Jeffs and his predecessors maintained strict control over their members, preaching the central idea that plural marriages were not only
It might not be the Mormons. I just know it's some pertaining around.
Because that's a different
Utah.
man.
Not that man, but he was talking about the other man that I was talking about.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? What's his name? John Smith? We done heard his name even in a body cam joint, right?
Yeah.
That woman who killed her husband and killed her kids.
Because they was part of, yeah.
Yeah.
only a God-given right, but were the only way for members to access the kingdom of heaven. He was known to call himself the prophet, the only member of the church who could talk to God.
I ain't never heard this man.
And if God told him that you should marry someone,
You said what?
Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith. But I never heard this man.
Yeah, I was saying that. I don't know who this is. So
Yeah,
I was
this man, but I'm
confused.
saying when he brought up Joseph
Oh.
Smith, dude.
My
I'm
bad.
talking about that man.
of
Not this
heaven.
man.
He was known to call himself the prophet, the only member of the church who could talk to God. And if God told him that you should marry someone, you wouldn't go against his will, would you? Wife after wife after wife,
Figures.
the prophet would arrange to wed, not only for the adult men inside the church, but most prominently for himself. Tens, hundreds of women were used as
Are these all his wives?
That's what he said.
You know what? These people don't be like prophets. They don't be like none of that.
Well,
It's
of course.
it's the police, the city, there's
The flesh.
no, there's like psychotic mindset they
Their
have.
flesh. Because,
Like,
what are you doing?
But they brainwash you based off of biblical meanings and biblical information.
Yes.
But it's all because they're psychotic in the mind. And they have such a
Oh my gosh,
this,
that is crazy.
this thought process. And once they brainwash so many to believe, bro. But you know what though? Like we always say, bro. That reminds me of what's the black dude?
You really
My
hurting me.
bad. What's the black dude
Who?
that got all the girls changed their last name to his last name?
Tell me the one we.
Yeah. What's her name? What's the? Damn. If I wasn't trying to think of it, I know it. Because I always know it.
It's the last name White, ain't it?
And no.
Oh.
No. He's prophet too.
Oh.
If y'all don't, damn, what's his name? See,
Jeremiah. No. Joshua Holmes.
Joshua Holmes. If y'all have never looked that man up, that man is sick and idiot. He's sick and delusional, but he got all these women. He prays to women and certain type of men. Those are the people he prey on, right? Mm-hmm. And they all end up changing their last name to his, and they say that he's their father. He's the only man they look to. I actually personally know somebody that is under,
and I just know
him.
her from passing because we went to the same
college
together. But
I
he
actually
grew up with her.
And I actually, because when she told me, I was like, oh no, I actually know this chick. Grew up with her, like from as a tie. And I was like, find out how like she's been like overly like brainwashed.
I don't know if she's out of it now or if she's
I don't know because I can't find her. I found her at one point. I can't find her.
I did, and her last name was his last name.
Yeah.
And along with so many other women.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then he looks and acts very weird.
Just look him up. Just do your own research. People have done videos on him, basically.
Oh, he's all over YouTube
he's
and
all
Facebook.
Over. So just look him up.
But if you never heard of him before, Prophet Joshua Holmes, check him out. We did extensive research years ago about him, and he's still on the same type time, though.
Pawns, tickets that they believed would grant them eternal salvation. And as you'd expect, their ages were never considered.
Wow.
Inside the FLDS, hundreds of children were born through underage mothers, forced into arranged marriages with men upwards of 85 years of age. And all of them wholeheartedly believed that they were carrying out the will of God.
Bro, to prey on the weak, man.
The story of the FLDS is one of the darkest I know, and they, too, have troves of media both destroyed and sealed away. We will be diving into the full story of the FLDS very soon. However, they're not fully the reason we're here tonight. In 2008, a game show premiered on Fox called The Moment of Truth. It involved contestants answering highly controversial and often abrasive questions in front of a live studio audience in exchange for an ever-growing grand prize. Prior to each episode, contestants would take a polygraph test to ensure the accuracy of their responses on stage. And I'm sure you can see how this could go downhill very quickly. Answer a highly personal, highly secret question correctly in front of the world, and the bag of cash dangling over your head grows ever more. Answer it wrong, however, and your affairs are exposed in front of thousands and are forever etched into broadcast history. In August of 2010, a contestant named Melanie Williams took the stage for the show's 9th episode of its 2nd season. Unlike those that competed before her, however, Melanie carried with her a dark, disturbing past.
Yeah. While living in a polygamous community, did you know of any underage girls who were married to adult men?
Yeah.
That answer is true.
Wow. But nothing could stop her dramatic climb to the top.
Oh no, this is different than what I thought it was. The other one was
just
in a whole
listen.
nother
Stop thinking. Yeah,
my bad, but that was in a whole.
Yeah, because I kind of remember the other one you was talking about a little bit.
Because I think Nick did that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
As it turns out, Melanie Williams grew up inside the FLDS and witnessed firsthand the atrocities committed against the women and children within. To this day, Season 2, Episode 9, her debut, is completely scrubbed from existence, leaving us with only an archived trailer hinting at the inner details she revealed. Interestingly, even though Episode 9 is considered lost, Melanie actually returned for Episode 10, one that has been found in full. Within it, she takes the stage for a final $500,000 question, the grand prize of this show and something no contestant before her has ever been able to win. In the beginning, host Mark Wahlberg warns her of what she's about to be faced with, giving her an opportunity to opt out. However, after reading it and taking a moment to really let it sink in, she decides apprehensively that she's gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it for my dad. I'm gonna go for it.
You're going for it? Holy moly.
Are you okay?
It's a tough question, excuse me. But it's a tough question for me. It's a tough question. But I can do it.
Tearful and aware of what she's about to reveal, her father questions what could possibly be causing a reaction like this. She has, up to this point, aired out so much already. How much more really is there?
Yes? Okay. For $500,000, Melanie Williams. Question 21. Do you believe your father, as an adult, has ever had sexual relations with a minor?
Oh my God. Oh my
Shit,
goodness.
I got choked up. What the?
That's. What type of game show is this?
Somebody was trying to expose some shit.
What you said?
Oh my gosh.
And I have to.
And answer it truthfully.
But it's my
Because
thoughts.
it's a lie detector test.
Do I believe? Do I have
still
knowledge?
Truthfully.
I know. Listen. Do I have knowledge?
You have knowledge.
Or do I believe?
You have knowledge. True, but the lie detector will still send it off whether or not if you feel like you're lying. Because you might not knowing, but you in your head thinking. So in your head you saying, and your conscience is saying yes. But the lie detector, if you say no, can say no. It can be false. But in your head you thinking
but
it.
What does that do for my father though?
Lock his ass up.
But what if he hasn't, but I believe he has?
Because she need the $500,000 because he going to go to jail. He need a bail.
She said I'm doing this for him.
I guess he got
for
secrets.
him because he needs to be held responsible?
He got
What do you
secrets.
mean? That could be...
He got secrets that needs to come out that closet. And maybe that... Damn, that's all right, this is deep. This is deeper than...
Is this show still on the air?
No, I'm just saying the media. This a deep shit, bro. Didn't they say? Hold on. Sorry. Didn't they say they get these questions from other people?
I don't know, child.
I swear, I feel like he said he get these questions from other people, and they. So somebody. I got a lot of questions.
Yes.
That answer is true.
Are y'all clapping? Why we clapping? I'm not cheering.
The audience erupts as Melanie sits, shocked at what she just unveiled to the world. Her father, equally stunned. And it all culminates in one of the strangest, most dystopian moments that I have ever seen on broadcast television. As the family embraces, Wahlberg questions her father about this illegal relationship, to which he completely downplays it.
All the time.
As part of that culture.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Let's hear what John feels of that.
Gosh. I'm not sure when I did this, I knew what a minor was. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
Bro, you was a grown ass man. You said I don't even think I believe what Alright, fuck. It's a fuck. That's fuck. Bro.
Wife number 2 was 17. She had just gotten out of high school.
How many wives has he had?
In January of 2011, over 4 months after this episode aired, Melanie Williams took to her personal blog to clear up any speculation about her time on the show. Within a post made on January 7th, she claims that her father had actually lied that night, that the girl wasn't 17 like he claimed. In reality, she was 14.
What?
And her name was Joy.
Wow.
As far as it's known, her father has neither been investigated nor charged since this aired, and there's been no further updates from Melanie herself.
Oh shit.
Even so, this broadcast is one of the strangest that I have ever watched, and I wouldn't be surprised if it contributed to the Moment of Truth's cancellation. Regardless of whether Season 2, Episode 9 is ever found, Melanie Williams successfully exposed the illegal atrocities committed by one of the world's darkest cults in front of thousands. A cult that has done everything in its power to keep its depraved history a secret. And a cult, the FLDS, who manipulated and abused women and children for over a century. All veiled under the will of God.
I don't know how much this is gonna be a hard one to get through.
When you're at landmark number 1, you're
October 1999. Residents on the south end of Fort Worth, Texas, notice a certain smell lingering in the air. It's repugnant, nauseating, a pungent, pervasive odor of rot. The stench is inescapable, rapidly enveloping parks, homes, and businesses. Something in the area is festering, and it's carrying an inescapable wave of what can only be described as the smell of deteriorating flesh. Disgusted and worried, residents in the area contact authorities in the hopes that anyone can figure out what the hell is going on. This odor has come up so quickly. So where in the world is it coming from?
Just look for this green pea.
Check out this week's Green Prize specials on all flavors of Jell-O frozen pudding pops.
For the sweetness of the grapes. At Ralph's, you expect this kind of quantity. One is...
It's like my mother always told me, get what you want, but get it at Wallbounds.
I know how good my quality meats taste, but you have to see how good Wallbounds prices look.
Resting at the corner of Hemphill and West Fogg Street in Fort Worth, Texas, sits an abandoned building. A grocery store called the Mexia Supermarket. Known to have been owned by a family from Laos, it served the surrounding neighborhood for years. But here, they were nowhere to be found. Their store is rotting, their home vacant, and it's like they up and left, leaving the only remnants of their existence, a neighborhood suffering from an inescapable smell, and a grocery store that's festering right under its own weight. Inside, rotting deli and meat discolored as bacteria consumed it. Produce began to wither and emit hazardous gas. Frozen goods and milk exploded due to an uncontrolled fermentation inside them. And the air inside, unbreathable, as the oxygen was completely depleted. As you'd expect, the building, by the time it was found, was in a state of complete disrepair, as maggots, roaches, rats, and thousands of flies had nested within its crevices. The scene? Unreal. And all of this was the product of a building left to decay for nearly 3 months.
Months.
In the following days, the Fort Worth Health Department officially declared the site as a health hazard, sparking a massive cleanup operation. But as they assessed the building, they realized that it would prove far more complicated than initially imagined. Because of the live rodents, millions of insects, and the buildup of hazardous gas, demolishing or burning the building down wasn't possible, as everything within it would simply migrate to the neighboring homes. And so, instead, a crew was hired to clean it by hand. Decked out in hazmat suits and oxygen tanks, they were tasked with bagging and removing the rotten food, disinfecting every surface inside, and fumigating the premises, all while navigating through the millions of insects surrounding them. Reportedly, the initial scene was so infested with flies that cleanup crews couldn't even see more than a few feet in front of them. The cleanup efforts took nearly a month to complete, and by December, the building stood completely empty, yet still carrying a lingering odor of rot. Years later, it was eventually bought out and rebranded as a store called Terry's. However, according to a review left on Google, nearly 14 years after Mexia, the place, even still, reportedly smelled like death.
Ooh.
All of the footage you've seen so far has been taken from a 2010 History Channel documentary called Life After People. And while it gives us an inside look at the conditions there, it's merely a small piece of this story. As it turns out, tons of news coverage was taken showcasing both the interior and exterior of the building before the cleanup operation began. However, as of now, it stands completely inaccessible. According to an online user named The Hookup, the news coverage of Mexia depicted a scene so repulsive that the windows appeared blackened due to the millions of roaches and flies covering them. I did have dreams about this one neighborhood in Fort Worth that was due to a news story at the time. A supermarket in this one low-income area of town just closed one day. The images on the news are what gave me bad dreams. Windows blackened by millions of roaches, rats in swarms. The smell had to be apocalyptic. 2-month-old fish, 2-month-old carrots, pork, thousands upon thousands of rat droppings. I was obsessed with the story, hence why I dreamt about it, being in there. It still freaks me out. To this day, this 1 minute of video is the only known footage in existence depicting the absolute nightmare left behind inside Mexia supermarket. And as we've seen, while evidence of other archives are out there, they have seemingly been buried in the void of broadcast history. With attention to it growing day by day, perhaps someday more footage about this will emerge. However, as of now, this is all we have. And it just might stay that way for years to come.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought that was gonna be a little deep. I thought it was gonna be the body or something.
I did too, because I was like, where's the family? Like, why did they just up and...
Yeah, that's why I thought.
Like, I don't know, yeah.
This is VH1. Video Hits 1.
After waiting some considerable time to find a well-set-up gentleman, Megan was prepared to meet a man she could wind up spending the rest of her life with.
I'm nervous. I'm excited.
August 2nd, 2009. A reality show airs on VH1 starring a woman named Megan Hauserman. It's called Megan Once a Millionaire, and it involves 18 suitors vying for her love by competing in challenges and trying to impress her with high-dollar dates.
Yeah, I remember him.
That's what
I do remember this, because I remember his face.
I don't remember this one. Cause this round like Flavor of Love and all that.
I think I do remember
For the Love
this.
of Ray J.
For once in my life, y'all.
I Love New York.
Yeah.
What's some other ones? A whole
All
plethora.
those, yeah.
I feel like I do remember cause this like peak VH1.
Yeah.
I think I remember this one. I got so played out on because they used to have them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Flavor of Love still the goated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love Flavor of Love.
Out of every contestant
I feel like
on the
I
show,
remember him too.
a
Not
man
him,
named
but the
Ryan
other.
Jenkins had stood out to her. He was charming and witty, a trait so prevalent that the production team granted him the nickname Smooth Operator. Now, drama was, and still is, no stranger to reality TV, and Megan Once a Millionaire was no different. With such a bombastic cast of rich men vying for a woman by primarily flaunting their wealth, I'm sure you can see how this fell into the junk food category of shows out there. Now, that's all completely fine, and nothing about Megan Once a Millionaire was even that big of a deal. In fact, we wouldn't even be talking about this show today if it weren't for the fact that By the time this show was set to air its 4th episode, Ryan Jenkins' wife was dead.
Wife?
Don't tell me. No, I didn't know that. He killed his...
August 15th. Police are investigating a dumpster in Buena Park, California.
Wow.
Reportedly, a foul smell is emanating from it, yet it isn't the kind you'd expect. This isn't the smell of trash. It's not an animal. It's something else. A few moments later, they dig out a densely packed suitcase, and upon opening it,
Wow.
staring skyward is the mutilated, mangled body of a blonde female. Her teeth are gone, her fingers severed, and her clothing nowhere to be found. Immediately, the police open a case. They realize that whoever did this went out of their way to sever any identifying feature from her body. However, curiously, one still remained. You see, this woman had breast implants, and given that these carry their own serial numbers, it gave authorities a potential lead for identification.
Oh, wow.
Even still, however, this woman was unrecognizable, ultimately leaving 3 pivotal questions to linger. Who was this? Who did this? And how in the world did she end up here? Hours later, authorities receive a phone call. It's from Ryan Jenkins, and he's pleading. His wife, an LA model named Jasmine Fiore, had reportedly up and vanished. He claims that the previous night, the two arrived back at their home in Los Angeles before she left to run errands. However, since then, nothing. Over the next 48 hours, the breast implants were verified to belong to Jasmine Fiore, and as a result, her husband Ryan Jenkins had become a person of interest in her murder. Yet, once they began looking into his movements over the few days prior, they realized that Jasmine Fiore, contrary to Ryan's testimony, had never arrived home. As it turns out, on the night of her death, the pair had gone to the La Berge Hotel in Del Mar, California for a poker tournament, and on CCTV, the pair can be seen arriving, getting settled in, and leaving. Oddly, however, at 4:30 in the morning on August 15th, just hours before Jasmine's body was uncovered, they discover a panicked Ryan Jenkins, yet he's completely alone. Jasmine, wherever they went, never returned with him. She was never seen alive again.
Wow.
Immediately, Jenkins becomes their lead suspect. However, tracking him down proved to be difficult. He went on the run, from their home in LA to Nevada, Nevada to Utah, Utah to Canada, and all of this was done in the span of just 2 days. Because of this, he was officially charged with the murder of Jasmine Fiore on August 20th. Yet, because he was evading arrest, he always seemed to be one step ahead. It wasn't until the morning of August 23rd when authorities would locate him at a motel called Thunderbird in Hope, Canada. However, their encounter wouldn't go at all as planned. That morning, Ryan Jenkins had never checked out. In fact, for the 3 days he was staying there, not a sound ever came from his room, and no one ever left. In reality, he had taken his own life, and inside his room, he awaited, hanging from the motel coat rack.
Oh my.
search for a reality show contestant charged with the first-degree killing of his ex-wife is finally over. Ryan Jenkins was found dead in a motel room in Canada yesterday, an apparent suicide. But officials say the investigation is far from over. Zuleika Nathu from the CBC.
Following his capture, VH1 had placed Megan Once a Millionaire on an indefinite hiatus, leaving episodes 4 to 6, the remainder of the season, never to air. After an
That's why we can't really remember it like that.
I remember it, but it wasn't. It didn't have like a long. Yeah.
Yeah, and due to the situation, they booted it. You know.
Internal investigation, it was found that Jenkins was charged with assault over 2 years prior to filming, something that should have restricted him from ever being allowed on TV.
Right.
Even further, there were reportedly countless other contestants with charges as well, opening up the door to accusations that VH1 perhaps overlooked these in hopes of sowing drama and driving up ratings.
They don't care.
For years.
And I wonder, so these men were, I wonder were they millionaires for real?
Good question.
Because you know a lot of stuff be fake, but
right.
It does appear that he possibly did have some money.
Some money, yeah.
They might not be like valued at $10 million, but they're probably valued at like $1.5, $2 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They might not be as rich as but they are some of the more wealthier men. And honestly, a lot of wealthy men are very controlling. You know?
Yeah, well, these numbers could be made up, but yeah.
You said those numbers could be.
I said these numbers on Google could be made up. I don't know.
It
just has a net worth.
Oh, and how much? So
it said his was 2.5, but
that's still, you know. I wonder did he get his from gambling because that's where they were headed to is a gambling event. Because you know some people do get their riches from gambling, doing blackjack and stuff like that for a living. Damn. This is insane, bro. And we'll never know never know why.
In hopes of sowing drama and driving up ratings.
For one, you were married. Why you even go on a show like this anyway? Were you trying to get exposure for something else? Sometimes you know they do that. Like, oh, this is a great show idea. You should go over there and get exposure. It's not real. Nobody's looking to fall in love for real, you know? Because honestly, when you really found out about like a lot of those shows back in the day, majority everybody was actors and they were trying to get on to something else.
Facts.
For years, episodes 4 through 6 of Megan Once a Millionaire was unseen by anyone outside of the studio. However, in 2020, Megan herself released episodes 4 and 5 on her personal YouTube channel. Even still, though, the finale eludes the public, and given the controversy that took place, it's unlikely to ever be released. To this day, VH1 and the entire landscape of reality TV has felt the effects of this tragedy, yet nothing could ever compare to the grief the family of Jasmine Fiore underwent as they lost their loved one. According to Jasmine Fiore's mother, their relationship was never healthy. They were always fighting, always arguing about something, but never did she think that Ryan Jenkins would take the life of her daughter. Never did she think that he would leave her in the condition he did. It felt like a complete nightmare, yet it was painfully, agonizingly real.
That's so sad.
Megan Once a Millionaire, to this day, remains as an eerie look at the faces people put on for cameras. Yet once they're off and everyone inevitably returns home, we truly don't know any of them.
No.
Reality TV, they call it. Even when it isn't reality.
Bingo.
At all.
Sick.
And last week's number 1 down to number 2, Underworld from Baltimore.
It's late at night, and a conversation is playing out between two online users, InExcess00 and No1093. It's charged, inappropriate, a glance into the most depraved desires of the human psyche. This correspondence carries on for days. However, there's just one problem.
Hello?
Hey,
Hey, what are you doing?
nothing. What are you doing?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Did you go get your other money?
Yes, I did.
For you.
Did you leave yet?
No.
You didn't leave yet.
No.
Are you going to come or not?
Yes, I shall.
Well, when are you going to come over?
Well,
I'm
a
bored.
little later.
A little later.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah, I guess. Jeez. You're silly.
You're the silly one.
InExcess00 in the real world is a 56-year-old man named Louis Conrad, and all throughout his chats and phone calls, he fully believes that he's conversing with a 13-year-old boy. November 11th, 2004. Dateline NBC airs a show that you just might have heard of. It's called To Catch a Predator, and in collaboration with police and a watchdog group named Perverted Justice, they performed sting operations around the country, luring in and exposing predators on national television. In July of 2006, the production team commenced a multi-month sting operation in the town of Murphy, Texas, for a proposed two-part special in the show's second season. Among those caught were a 54-year-old math teacher named Stanley Kendall, a 52-year-old oil drilling consultant named Randall Wolford, and a 56-year-old district attorney for Kaufman County, Texas, named Louis Conrad. Aside from the surprising number of high-profile individuals all living a secret life, Conrad starkly stood out among the others. For years, he climbed the ranks of the Texas legal system, contributing to the prosecution of countless criminals. Because of this, he carried an extensive knowledge of Texas law, something that the police and production team knew they'd have to carefully navigate if they were successfully to convict this guy. For his entire career, Conrad was well-liked and respected, they thought. So why in the world is he doing this? As the months carried on, the conversations between Louis Conrad and No1093 would only become more depraved. Louis would share explicit images, express a strong desire to meet, and would consistently bring up subjects that a 13-year-old has no business talking about online. But throughout all of this, little did he know that No1093 wasn't who he said he was. The entire persona was a setup, and the predator, Louis Conrad, had fallen straight into his trap. According to Texas law, engaging in explicit conversation with a minor is a third-degree felony, a crime that Louis Conrad had, without a doubt, heavily partook in. Because of this, on November 5th, 2006, Tarrant County PD had obtained a search warrant and set out to his home to finally arrest him. When they arrived, the police had hoped that Conrad would recognize them and come out to talk. However, his behavior wasn't so straightforward. Through his window, they could see a TV playing and a computer running, Yet Lewis was nowhere to be seen. And so they break in, clear out room after room. Yet once they make it to his main hallway, they discover him standing eerily still, seemingly awaiting them. Frozen in place, Lewis begins pleading, explaining that he's not gonna hurt anyone. However, before the police can react, he, out of nowhere, pulls out a handgun from behind his back, turns it on himself, and takes his own life. As the camera crew stood outside, the sound of a loud crack had broken the stillness in the air, and for a brief moment, they were unaware of the scene awaiting them inside. No one expected Louis Conrad to do this. No one expected him to prey on an underage kid. No one expected any of this.
A man who has prosecuted criminals for more than 2 decades shot himself. We watched as an emergency medical team arrived and hoped they could somehow save him. But as Conrad...
You know what? With this whole episode, I don't even think they should have aired it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, once you know he did this, you should have just like, all right, we're not going to air that. But we got evidence to back ourselves up behind it. You know what I'm saying? Mm. Like, we have evidence to place him exactly what he's doing, exactly everything. We got extensive, like, so you will be able to save your own butt, but you didn't have to air it. You know what I'm saying?
Cause then some stuff like
yeah. Cause so
from everything.
We are aware of this whole situation, and the trickle effect for that and the way it was handled calls for others to be able to vacate their conviction. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that were arrested from STEM around this show were subsequently like let out. Yeah. The ones that had been convicted and the other ones that hadn't been convicted yet, those cases were dropped. Which is unfortunate because you got some real sickos off the street.
Facts.
But when something like this happened, I know a lot of people, like, you got to think about it, even in the nature of our generation, right? Yeah. Of the social media content. And we see a lot of people are actively doing this, right? Yeah. If something like this happened, because nobody has real profession in it, you know how, like, you know what this would cause? Yeah. And so, like, they handled it, like, to catch a P, handled these way more professional. They actually got the police backing them behind it. Most of these YouTubers who be doing it have no, like...
Yeah, true.
No law behind it. They just doing it.
Facts.
And honestly, I'm sure majority of them who do it, there's legal loopholes to be able to beat the case.
Sadly.
Y'all, unfortunately, what's going to end up happening is y'all going to end up running against somebody who actually got some money. And somebody who got some type of status. They're going to be the ones that get caught. This is going to be a legal loophole, and that person ain't going to be convicted. And then somebody else, y'all going to be so eager to put the content out that somebody else is going to be watching it. And they're going to be like, oh, I can do that legal loophole. And so many people
all these folks need to be off the street, but it's a way to handle it. It's a way to go about it.
Yeah. And I don't think none of them are going about it the right way.
Red is brought out on a stretcher. It's clear his condition is grave.
To this day, this incident is regarded as one of the darkest in To Catch a Predator's history. And because of litigation and their dwindling relationship with advertisers, the show was canceled the following year. While most aspects of this case, like the chat logs, the phone calls, and the aftermath are readily accessible online, there is one piece of media that has, to this day, never been released. Reportedly, there's an audio tape of Conrad's final words taken from police body cameras. However, for obvious reasons, it's remained sealed away. The Louis Conrad story is one of the most depraved situations that never should have happened. He was a man who knew better, a man who should have done better, a man who preyed on the most vulnerable subset of humanity. While the recording of his final moments may never see the light of day, his vile actions will forever be known, and his name immortalized as a monster that once lived among us.
Shit.
It's the early 2000s, and Silent Hill 2 haunts the world. Circuit City runs a special on camcorders, and over on CBS Channel 11, a bear enthusiast named Timothy Treadwell appears on Letterman. By every measure, Timothy Treadwell is a lifelong wildlife admirer. For the past 11 years, he's gone out of his way to live with bears native to Katmai National Park in Alaska, documenting his experiences wherever he can. Anytime this man was out in the wild, he had a camera on him and seemed to carry a remarkable lack of fear as he interacted with animals that could quite literally end his life at any moment. Throughout the 1990s, Treadwell was known to travel across the US, educating aspiring young adults on the intricacies of bears and their relationship with their natural environment. With this, he would share videos of his excursions, catalyzing an appreciation for the natural world to a new generation of young minds. These efforts would cause Treadwell to skyrocket in popularity, and by the early 2000s, he had effectively become a household name. From what it seemed, Treadwell's way of life was inherently dangerous, yet entirely rewarding. A dance with the devil at every turn, yet it was something he was massively enamored by. He felt this sense of oneness, a connection to a species that humans, for as long as we've lived, have inherently feared. In October of 2003, Timothy Treadwell had convinced his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, to venture out with him to Katmai National Park. Contrary to his other excursions, however, this one was markedly late in the year. You see, October's on the brink of hibernation season, a time in which bears are aggressively scavenging for food to get them through the winter. On top of this, there was a drought that plagued the area that year, drying up the food supply and causing an extra layer of aggression with the native wildlife. Effectively, the environment was incredibly tense. Competition ran high. Yet, even still, Timothy convinced Amy to trust him, as he was eager to continue his study of a species that he's carried a lifelong fascination with. It's been noted that Amy never wanted to go on this trip. In fact, she feared bears. Painfully so. It's the next day, and the forest is quiet. An air taxi pilot named Willie Fulton lands his plane near the couple's campsite to pick them up for their trip back home. Upon jumping out and looking around, however, Fulton quickly realizes that something isn't right. Timothy and Amy are nowhere to be seen, and all that greets him is a torn up campsite and a bear. A very disgruntled bear. Confused by what he's witnessing and fearing for his safety, Fulton jumps back into his aircraft and calls in a report to the area's park rangers. And once they arrive, they shoot the bear dead, scour the surrounding area, and shockingly, uncover a scene completely unexpected. Throughout their campsite, the mutilated, half-eaten remains of Timothy and Amy are scattered across the ground. Their bodies have been violently torn apart. Timothy's head and arms are littered around the camp, and Amy is haphazardly buried in a pile of dirt next to their tent. That night, Timothy Treadwell and Amy Huguenard lost their lives at the hand of a wild bear. And in the 85-year history of Katmai National Park, the two of them were the first to ever die this way. While investigating the campsite, the park rangers, surprisingly, came across a camera that recorded the attack. Reportedly, the lens cap was left on, leaving just 6 minutes of audio at the very end of their tape depicting their final moments. To this day, this audio has never been released. However, write-ups from those who had heard it firsthand paint a picture straight out of a nightmare. It supposedly went something like this. The tape begins with the sound of Timothy outside of their tent during a storm. A bear has wandered into their camp. However, before he can react, he's violently attacked. In immense distress, he begins to scream, pleading for Amy to come to his aid. And so she unzips the tent, heads outside, and commands for Timothy to play dead. A few moments later, in believing Timothy to be deceased, the bear retreats into the dark, to which Amy, in complete shock, rushes to Timothy's aid. Understandably, she's screaming and crying. Her boyfriend, a man who spent his entire life devoted to nature, has just been brutally attacked by the very thing he loved. But as it sinks in, the bear out of nowhere returns to Timothy, grabs his body, and drags him into the dark.
R.I.P., man. Tragic way to go out.
Since this incident, the one and only copy of this tape has been left in the possession of Treadwell's longtime friend, Jewel Palovak, who to this day has never listened to it. And aside from the authorities, the only other person who's known to have heard it is documentarian Werner Herzog. Just a few seconds in, however, he pulled his headphones off, instructed Jewel never to listen to it, and strongly urged her to destroy it. As far as it's known, Jewel Palovak remains in possession of this fabled tape and has vowed to both keep it sealed away and to never listen to it in her lifetime. With this, the final moments of Treadwell and Huguenard's lives are shrouded in a cloud of uncertainty, leaving the world around them to eternally speculate about it. This tape, much like with Christine Chubbuck, is one of the darkest, most haunting cases of lost media that I truly believe we will never get our hands on. It's a tragedy that never should have happened. A freak incident deep in the woods. 6 minutes of audio depicting one of the most gruesome ways to die that we may never hear in our lifetime.
Six minutes is so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll say this. Well, let me ask you that. I'll say, do you believe we'll ever hear this, or do you believe that audio will ever get out?
Probably not unless, say for instance, something was, to happen to her, because she's the one that has access to it. Somebody get their hands on it after the fact and then put it out. Other than that, I don't think so.
So I'll say, do I believe she'll ever put it out?
No.
Do I believe she'll ever listen to it? I'm torn in between two things, right? Upon her passing, whenever that might be, we all gotta leave one day.
Yeah.
She would instruct someone to put it out, or she would instruct someone to destroy it.
I think she
with that person. Say for instance, she instructs someone to destroy it. That person, I don't think will want to destroy it before they listen to it, or they might instruct it to give it to somebody for it to be a warning for others. To be so people can learn about the situation. You get what I mean?
Yeah, true. But I also feel like listening to someone's final moments is not really a learning. It's not a lesson, a learning lesson. Like there's so many other things I can learn off of as far as their behavior and things of their like just how they are as creatures. Yeah. Like I don't need to hear that to learn something from it. But I do agree with you as far as like either she like if I had possession of something like that, and I know I don't have any intentions on ever listening to it, and I know that I may be on my final whatever, I'm just gonna destroy myself. Just so I know it's done.
But what if you go out tragically, you can't destroy it? Because I feel like if she would have if she had true intentions to destroy it herself, she would have already done so.
Right. But if I go out, hopefully whoever my stuff is in the hands of, or whatever the case may be, will know that that's something that I never wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like you have people around you that just know. Like you just know. Like what's the point in putting it out? So yeah, it's a
toss up though. It's most definitely a toss up, and I can see it in one of those two ways.
Yeah.
To give it to somebody that was involved in that, and they'll be on them. Some people will want to put it out. Some people would. Especially, you know what I'm saying? Because I could see somebody wanting to, say 20, 30 years later, want to make a movie out of that situation. They have before. And you'll need to hear that audio to, I can see that happening. Can you?
Yeah, it's happened before, so yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's or she'll have somebody and they will destroy it. It's either one of the two. I don't think somebody else would carry it and then somebody else would carry it on. I don't think it'll be like that. It's either after her, it'll get destroyed or it'll eventually come out. Mm-hmm. But would you hindsight, I think a lot of people would want to hear it. Because that's the human curiosity, Because we're curious about hearing and seeing a lot of other things. But also human curiosity, you might be in fear too.
Yeah.
But hey, y'all spam us up, man. This was good for our first time. Well, not first time, but first of these though. But I forgot the other one we did was shorter.
I was about to say good. I mean,
not like good, but I'm saying very.
But
not. I'm saying like more like
well put together.
Yeah. Not like
yeah.
Choice of words, man. But hey, y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are
Kid and C.
We out.
Peace.
Time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money low, get my team strong. Let me run away from my